Today we will look at the CRM module, and I'll show you how to add new customers and contacts, edit existing customers, add customer-specific pricing, set default information that will populate data when a new order or estimate is created. We will also take a look at CRM activities, where you can log sales calls and emails or schedule a reminder for yourself or another user. Before we jump into the CRM module, there's a few drop-down boxes that we'll go over in the admin list that we'll see during this session. The first one is the terms list. So under admin, estimate order, and terms, this is where you can set up the different terms for your customers. If you're integrating with an accounting system like QuickBooks, for example, go ahead and add the terms that you have set up in your accounting system. With most of the admin edit lists that are in Midnight, if you need to make any changes to the existing data, you can click on the little pencil icon off to the right, and that'll allow you to edit the description or make a change to the description or any of the two fields here, as well as mark any of the items inactive. To mark an item inactive, just uncheck the active checkbox, and that will remove it from the drop-down menus that you see when you're in the CRM record for the terms list. Once you've made changes, just click on the save icon to save your changes, or the little cancel icon to cancel your changes. We'll go ahead and add a new code. We'll just call it net5. I'll just click on the save icon, and that'll save my new terms. Next, we'll take a look at the activity type. Again, we're back under admin and then CRM, and it's the first one in the list here, activity type. So this lets you define the activity types when creating a pending activity or completing an activity. Now, all of the activity types are going to be under this one list. So depending on the type of activity that you want, you would also select if you want this activity code when you're completing an activity, or creating a new activity, a pending activity, or entering in the results of a completed activity as well. So again, the same as we went over on the terms, you would just type in your new activity type, and here you would just select which activity type it is. Is it when you're completing, again, a pending activity, or the result of an activity, and then the description again here as well. If there's any of these that you're not using, or again, if you need to make any changes, you can edit and change the description, or you can inactivate that particular activity type. Next, we have customer type, and that's also under admin and then CRM. So this is where you can list all of the different customer types. As you see here, we have one for customer, prospect, and reseller. You can add as many different customer types as you need for your business. And as you're creating new customers or editing existing customers, if you want to group them under different customer types, this is where that list is pulled from. Next, we have the ship via, and that's going to be under the delivery methods under our admin menu. So this lets you set the default delivery method for your shipping address. If you need to ship items back to your customer or vendor, this will appear, or this will display the default delivery method, and I'll show you that when we get into the actual customer records. It's going to be under the billing shipping tab of the customer record. Next, we have our postage account, and that's going to be under our accounting and postage account. So when you're receiving payments for postage from your customers, you'll first need to create a payment account and then attach that payment account to your customer record before you can receive payments. You can have as many different payment accounts associated to each customer, and what's neat about having postage accounts is you can go into that customer record and you can view the balance of each account that they have attached to the record. And lastly, we have our user-defined fields. Now we have 5 different user-defined fields, and we'll go over the estimates, items, and orders when we get into the estimate, orders, and inventory module. But for today, we'll look at the customer user-defined fields. There are 10 user-defined fields that you can set up for your customers. And once you've made your changes here to the user-defined field label, and once you've set the field type, once you close out of, or once you save that record, you won't be able to go back in and change the field type. So the only thing I can really change here is the label and then the input mask. Since mine are already defined, there's not any new ones I can edit, but the very first time that you're editing your user-defined fields, you'll be able to select the field type, and your options are a text field, a date, a number. I believe a calendar is another option. Let me pick one that, yeah, here we go. So since nothing's filled out on the bottom three here, you'd be able to change the label name, and then you can select which field type, which format you want this field type to be. And these are your selections: the text, integer, decimal, currency, date, or time. And then the input mask, if you do have a date selected, you can have an input mask of, for example, month, day, year. That way it's always in the format, or you want your users to enter it in that format. You can also limit the field size. So if it is a text field, you can limit the number of text. That way your user wouldn't get to write a long novel for that particular field. Now the copy and the export button only pertain to the order and the estimate user-defined field, and we'll go over that when we talk about the orders and estimates module. If there's a user-defined field that you're not going to be using, you can always go in and inactivate it. But the user-defined fields just allows you to enter in additional data. So if there's fields that you don't see within the customer record, this just allows you to create additional fields so you can store more data under that customer record. You can also search for the user-defined fields, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second here. When I first click on the CRM, it's going to bring me to my CRM search screen. And this will list all of my customers, both active and inactive. If I only want to see my active customers off to the far right, I can select checked, which would show me all of my active customers. If I want to see any inactive ones, I can select the unchecked option, and that'll show me any customers that have been inactivated. Off to the right, this is my reset or clear filter, and that'll just set everything back to how it was. I can use any of the fields at the top to search for my customers. So if I want to see all of my customers that are in Florida, for example, I can just type in the abbreviation for the state, and that'll list all of my customers that I have in Florida. Now, off to the right of each field, you'll see a little key. This just allows you to filter the data even more if you want to only include or exclude certain text that you've typed in. So you have about 6 options here, but it's always defaulted to that the data begins with. But if I, for example, if I want to see everything for ABC marketing, or any customer that starts with ABC, I can type in ABC. If I can also select does not contain, and it'll bring up everything that does not contain ABC marketing. So many different ways you can use these filters within inside each of the search fields. I can also click on the headings at the top. So if I want to sort my customer list alphabetically by city, I can click on the city field at the top, or by zip code, however you want to sort your data. You can click on these fields and put them in ascending or descending order. Now, when I click on the extended search, I do have a few more options to search for data or even display data. So if I want to display my contacts, I can check the display contacts checkbox, click on submit, and this will show me the primary contact for that customer. And then from here, I can search by the contact name. These are defined fields. So these are the ones we just saw a couple of minutes ago. So I have a couple of customers in here that do have a a user-defined field populated. And we'll use source as an example. And I have a few auto clubs, so if I type in auto club and then click on submit, this will bring up all of my customers that have that user-defined field source, and then the value that I have entered in for those customers. I can also search by the sales rep or the CSR. So if I want to see all of, for example, all of the customers that are assigned to Chris Huber, for example, I can type in his initials, and that'll give me a list of all of his customers that he's associated with. And I can use any combination of the extended search as well as the filters at the top to filter for my data. So you're not just limited to one field. You can use any combination of these fields. To close out of the extended search, you can just click on the extended search again, and that'll collapse that, that search screen. Under the quick links, I can view my activity calendar, which will open up all of my open activities. We'll go over that in just a few minutes. Add customer will allow me to add a new customer. And I'll add a new one also in just a few minutes. Next, we also have our quick add customer. And the quick add customer just opens up a short form to add a new customer without all of the other fields a user may not need access to, like the customer specific pricing or the postage accounts. Once the customer is added, their supervisor or someone else can go back in and add any additional data that's needed. Under the recently visited, this will show you the last 10 customers that you've edited or accessed. So we'll add a new customer, and I'm going to show you the quick add real quick. And this just, like I said, brings up a little short form. We can type in the customer code. The customer code can be alphanumeric. Just make sure that it's unique and is not already used within the program. Just typing in the customer name, the contact name, address, city, state, zip, real basic information. We can select the country. We can select the company, and this is what's going to show the logo and the address when you're creating a new order or new estimate for this customer. So this will print out the default your company information. All right, the rest we'll leave blank for now. We'll go and do the terms. We'll add our new terms that we just created, the net 5. And we'll just leave everything else blank for right now. Once I'm done, I can just click on submit, and that will add my customer. So from here, I can go back in, have my manager or accounting, whoever updates the customer information, they can go in and they can finish filling out the additional fields. All right, so if we have a fax number, we can enter in the fax number, the email address. The customer type. So this is the list we saw a couple minutes ago as well. We can select the sales rep, the CSR. What I'm doing now is just selecting the default sales rep and CSR for this customer. What this will do is anytime I create a new customer, or I'm sorry, a new order or new estimate for this customer, it'll pull in this information, the sales rep, the CSR, and the terms. So it'll pull that in automatically for me. So I don't have to enter that in every time I create a new order or a new estimate. If we know their permit number, we can enter this here. This will also pull into the order and the estimate when when a new order or estimate is created for this customer. I'm just going to make up a number here. The account status, we can select that. Now, we're kind of getting into some information that's not required. These are the user-defined fields that I mentioned earlier, so we can go ahead and enter an auto club here as well. All right, let's see. Next, we have our account warning section. So if the active checkbox is checked, whatever message that you have typed in our warning box will populate each and every time that a new order or a new estimate is created for this customer. It could be anything from these are VIP customers, these customers are past due on their invoices, whatever information that you want to have displayed for the CSR or sales rep when they're creating orders and estimates. Whatever is typed in here, they'll see when creating those records. Off to the right, we can select their tax jurisdiction. So if this is a taxable customer, we can check the taxable tax flag and then select which tax, what tax they would be charged. Next, we have our billing and shipping information. So this is the default billing and shipping. And here's our ship via. So if we know every time that they have any leftover material, if we're going to FedEx it, or if we're going to deliver it, whatever, however we're going to ship it, we can select the default here. If they do have a separate billing address, then their main customer address, we can change that here. Notes, any notes about this customer? Also under the billing shipping, if the address has changed, if they've moved to a different location, you can just type in the new location up here and then click on same as above and it'll copy down the new details. So you won't have to type in the address 3 different times. You can enter it once up here and then click on the same as above and it'll copy that information for you. Next, we have our contacts. So since we added Daniel under the quick add customer form, it did add it for us under our contacts. Now, if you do have a contact that's no longer with that customer, you can always go in and deactivate it. It doesn't delete them from the record. It just will not include them in the contact drop-down box when you're creating a new order or a new estimate. To add a new contact, we'll click on Add Contact, and we'll add a new one here. And I can just click Default to Company, and that'll pull in the company address, so I don't have to worry about typing that in. We can put in their phone number. Their extension, if they have an extension. And then any comments about this contact. Once I'm done, I can just click on Submit. And this will show my new contact now. Now, once I've deactivated a contact, unchecking this would show all of my inactive contacts. So right now, it's only going to show active contacts. Next, we have pricing. This is where I can enter in any customer-specific pricing. So what this will allow you to do is if you, for example, copies, we'll use that example. Let's say that for copies, you want to give them either a discount on copies or maybe a markup on copies, the copy service that you provide. So you basically select the service code It's going to pull in the base price. This is what everyone would normally pay. And then here we can either change the rate, or we can give them a discount. Or if we put in a negative discount, it'll mark it up that percentage. So you can do one or the other. So we can, let's say we wanted to make this maybe $7.90 per thousand versus the $4.90 per thousand. I'm sorry, $79 per thousand versus the $49 per thousand. Or we could, like I said, we could do a markup. We could do, maybe we'll do a 20% markup. Or we can do a discount. Maybe we give a 20% discount. If there is a minimum price, we can change it as well. Or if there's not a minimum price, we can include a minimum price. Let's say $15 is the minimum price for this customer. Once you're done, you can just click on Save, and that will save that record. So every time this customer has copies, they'll be charged a markup of 20% on top of the base price, and they have a $15 minimum. You can do this for all of the services that you provide for your customer. So if you wanted to mark up or discount all of your services for a certain percentage, you could click the Load All Services. And this will load all of your services that you have at midnight into the customer record. So instead of going in and editing each one or adding each one, at the very bottom, we can say we're going to give them a 10% discount. Or again, if you want to do a markup, you could just do a negative discount and then apply discount to all services. And what that will do is it'll add that whatever percent that you enter here, it will add that to all of the services. Now, if you went through all that by mistake and realized that you didn't mean to include all the services, you would have to go in and delete these one at a time. And that'll remove it from the customer record. Next, we have our postage account. So this is where we can go in and attach our postage account. We'll say that they have a main deposit account. And we can also include a US Postmaster account. Right, so we can include more than one account. Let's see here. All right, we'll do auxiliary. Oh, I must have already added it. All right, well, we'll get rid of this one now. All right. You can enter any notes about each of these accounts if you want to include the account number, for example. Next, we have our attachments. This just allows you to attach any documents. Maybe if they're a tax-exempt customer, you can upload their tax exemption certificate or their nonprofit authorization letter. What this will allow you to do is anyone that accesses this customer will be able to view that attachment. To include an attachment, you would just select the document type. We'll just say it's a document file. We can give it a file name. And we can choose the file, whether it's on your local hard drive or if it's on your network. We can select that file. And I don't have a good example here. Right, and then we can just click on the save icon, and that will save that file. It actually attaches it to the customer record. So, right, and anyone that accesses the customer record, they can just click on the file name, and that will open up that particular document. It could be an image, it could be a PDF document. Next, we have open estimates and open orders. Since this is a brand new customer, we won't have anything just as of yet. Pending, this is where we can go in and we can create our activities. We can set reminders for ourselves. We can set reminders for another employee. So if you're going to be out of the office for a week, for example, You can go in and you can schedule an activity not only for yourself, but you can schedule it for another user. So we'll go ahead and create one here. So here's our activity types for the pending activity. This is the list that we saw kind of in the beginning of our training session. If this is in reference to an order or an estimate, we could select that order or estimate from the list. Now, by default, it's going to create this activity for the user that's logged in. Except if you know you're going to be out during this activity, you can select the user. You can select the date and time. It's almost like setting up an Outlook reminder. And you can even set the reminder, maybe 15 minutes prior to our time, and then any notes, any comments. And once I'm done, I can click on Submit, and that will save that activity. History would show any completed activities. And kind of the same steps when you're adding a completed activity. Here you can copy and paste email. So if you receive an email from your contact, we can select our result. This is going to be again, if it's in reference to an order or estimate, we can select that from the list. And then we can paste the contents of our email under the comment section. Then we can click on Submit, and that'll save that, that'll save that activity as a complete activity. Also, if you email directly from Midnight, if you email an estimate or an order to your customer or to your contact, it'll record that as a completed history or as a history activity. Once you're under the activities, the pending or the history, you can click on the view to view the activity, make any changes. So let's take a look at what a user would see once they log in and an activity has been assigned to them. Actually, let me log out of this one. Let me submit and log out. All right, so there we go. So here is an activity from another customer of ours. So from here, I can dismiss it, I can complete it, or I can set it to snooze in 5 or anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 weeks. But to complete this, we would just check the checkbox, click on Complete. This will open up the activity, and we can select that the result of this activity. So we can say they'll be called. If I needed to schedule up a follow-up activity, I can go ahead and select this. So what this will do is it will complete this activity. And when I click on Submit, it will schedule a new activity for me. And we can set this for a week from today. And we'll just say the same time, 2 p.m. and then submit. Now I don't have to have the pop-up in order to complete an activity. Let me go to the history tab here, and here's the one that we completed and did the follow-up. When you're in a pending activity, when you're viewing a pending activity, you can either complete here, or you can click on view and there's a complete icon at the very top of the form. This will do the same thing. So a couple ways you can complete an activity. Going back to the CRM search screen, open activities would show all of your open activities that are in Midnight. So here's the one we just created, or the follow-up activity we just created. Here's the one we just created for the proof and the brochure. From here, I can complete them as well from here. Again, I can use any of the fields at the top to filter for my activities. So if I know that, let's see, Nate's going to be out of town, I can filter for all of his activities. Real-time activities. Would show any completed activities. So instead of going into each individual customer record and viewing the history tab, I can go to the real-time activities and filter, same way we did on the open activities, and look at those completed activities. All right. Lastly, we can look at a couple of the customer reports. Under the quick links, the activity calendar, this just is a shortcut to the open activities tab. So under reports, under our reports menu, we can go to our customer reports. So we have a couple of reports for customers. We have our customer list export. So this report is formatted to be exported out to Excel. So we have our customer code, we have our company, first, last name of the contact, city, state, zip. We have our user-defined fields. In this case, we have an anniversary date. If you mouse over the Save button, this will give you all the options to save or export this report. So if I wanted to save it to Excel or export to Excel, I can select Excel. And when I click OK, it will generate the Excel file for me. And then once it's in Excel, I can do whatever I need to do to create my mailing list or search for the data. Okay, customer list just shows each of our customers. Their address, city, state, zip, the sales rep, CSR, their terms, and if they're active or not. And then the last report will list all of the customers and each contact for each of those customers. You can also email these reports if you wanted to email this to another sales rep or CSR within your company. You can click on the email and enter in their email address and send it directly through Midnight. One thing I forgot to show you under the CRM real quick is the open orders and history. I'm sorry, open orders and open estimates. So let's pick a different customer that I know has open orders and estimates. So what's neat about this is you can go to the customer record and, oops, wrong one here. All right, someone closed out all of my estimates. So let's just show you all of your open orders. And from here, you can just click on the order number and it takes you directly to that order. If I want to see all of my orders that have been closed, I can select the closed orders checkbox. And this should show me any orders that are closed for this customer. The open estimates would show any open estimates for this customer. Oops, I'm locked up here for a second. Go ahead and close out of this one. Here, we'll do ABC marketing here. There we go. So here's all of our open estimates for ABC marketing. And again, we can use the filters at the top to filter for those open estimates. So that ends today's training on CRM.